about what's happening at MensCraft and his experiences there. So a round of applause for Paul, please.
I'm standing over here shamelessly so I get in my camera that I've set there. This is my first time doing this talk, so thank you for being the first audience. In the Royal Marines, we were told to stand tall, to speak clearly, and to never show weakness. Decades later, I evolved into a spiritual transformational coach teaching men how to feel. Life is full of surprises. But seriously, I don't come here as a comedian, I don't come here as an academic, I don't come here as a public speaker. I come here as a man who has travelled through some dark places. As a 17-year-old boy, I joined the Royal Marines, an environment built on strength, loyalty, and self-respect. Those values shaped me, but they also taught me how easily men can confuse strength for silence, or silence for strength. Later in life, I lived with a hidden addiction to alcohol. I spent over 7 years in a foreign prison, and I lived through childhood sexual abuse. I lost both my father when I was 13 and my brother just a few years ago, both to suicide. I'm also gay, which as a child of the 80s also carried its own stories of shame and hiding. Well, I couldn't have made it through any of that without the love and support of my family and friends. So hello to Mum over there. And I genuinely hope that it's that same love and support that I bring to my work today, because there are so many men who haven't had that love and support, and so many men who need it. Now, a little about MensCraft. As you can see, I'll let the pictures do the talking. This is about bringing men together, men from all different walks of life. And I'm most proud to work for MensCraft, and I'm also proud that I'm a transformative coach. I work independently. And that means helping people to move beyond the self-imposed limitations. And it's towards a life built on authenticity, compassion, and respect. Whether I'm working one-to-one with people in groups or through MensCraft, the aim is the same, and that is to meet men where they are, not where we think they should be. And before we go any further, I want to give such a huge thank you to the magnificent Dr Susie Bennett. Your work has massively influenced what I do, and so deeply aligns with what we do at MensCraft. The stuff we're doing on the ground, you are bridging that real life stuff through your research, so thank you so much. And can we have another round of applause? It's giving language and legitimacy to what so many of us witness on the ground, and that is compassion, connection, and community are not optional extras. They are fundamental interventions of their own. So in my role at MensCraft, I work daily with men who have crossed the line into the criminal justice system. Most of the men I meet are carrying shame. Shame for what they've done, shame for who they are, and shame for how they've been treated. And I'm familiar with that shame. In the Marines, I learned to push down my pain and to get on with it. In war and conflict situations, that's a useful survival strategy. In peace and at home, it's a devastating one. I left the Marines, but I carried the armour with me. I drank to cope with emotions that I did not know how to feel. And I fought the world and I fought myself. It took years and some brutal honesty to see that the thing that I've been trained to suppress was the very thing I needed to heal, and that was feeling. Of course, I was trained by the Marines to do that, but I was also trained by society to do that. That men shouldn't feel, that our feelings aren't welcome, so we pretend instead. We create fake personas and superficial connections. And we pretend that we're okay with it when clearly we're not. When we talk about intervention, we often look for programs and funding and frameworks, and that is all very important, but what I see day to day is much simpler than that. We're creating spaces where a man feels safe enough to be himself, to tell the truth of himself, where his mistakes aren't justified, but they are understood, where he can be angry, frightened and confused and not be abandoned for it. And that is at the heart of what we do at MensCraft. We don't fix men, we meet men. The turning point for me and for many of the men I work with is self-compassion. Showing men that compassion isn't soft but courageous. It means seeing the depth of reality as it is and still choosing to respond with understanding, not punishment. In the criminal justice work I do, I see men who have been written off by society and written off by themselves. And the real progress can begin when we recognise that we are still human and that we still belong. Forgiveness is not about pretending nothing happened. It's about breaking the cycle of self-hatred, because it's those very conditions of self-hatred that create the conditions of suffering in the first place. We do not beat ourselves up, we beat ourselves down. So the question I'm asking myself, everyone here, organisations, is how do we teach men to forgive themselves, and how do we forgive each other? We ask men to take responsibility, to speak up, to reach out, but are we providing them a safe culture to receive that in? Real intervention isn't just crisis response, it is creating conditions where men feel safe enough to be human before they hit crisis. In closing, MensCraft isn't perfect. I'm not perfect, and the men that we meet are not perfect. I'm not proud of some of the mistakes I have made, but I'm grateful for the lessons they've taught me, and I'm proud of the work that I do. On good days, I'll see transformation. Sometimes that's a glimmer, sometimes it's more. And it will be in laughter, in tears, or on the look in someone's face who's finally been given permission to feel. The work we do is about reminding men that they're not alone, and that being human, even when it hurts, is still worth it. When we move away from should-ality into reality. And with love and support, thanks Mum, we discover that we are stronger than our past, not in spite of it, but because of it. And the quote I'd like to leave you with today is born from that place, because it's true for every one of us here today. It's the more I can forgive myself for the mistakes I've made, the less I am like the person that made them. Thank you.
so much to Paul and Paul's lovely mum, and I don't think that will be the last time Paul will be public speaking. Very, very, incredibly moving. Thank you so much, Paul. And this is why sometimes people say to me, is it quite difficult, the work that you do, or quite draining, or takes its toll? And I think, of course, there's aspects of it that's absolutely devastating, but there's also just like human medicine that tops you back.